So if you're anything like me, you probably looked at Nintendo Switch's 2022 software lineup so far and figured that most of the major games have already been announced because of course it's already set up to be a very stacked year. And to everyone's surprise yesterday, we got an official announcement for open world Pokemon games that will be coming from the Pokemon Company in 2022. And in today's video, I want to have a broader discussion on what this means for future announcements such as the E3 Nintendo Direct or Summer Window Nintendo Direct, and what else can really be on the card for this potentially best software year ever in Nintendo Switch's history. What's up, Nation? If it's your first time on the channel, make sure you join Sunbro Nation by subscribing below, hit the like button on this video if you enjoy it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. And as I mentioned, guys, we got a big conversation to have today because to many fans' surprise yesterday, there was of course the Pokemon Presents event that does take place every year on Pokemon Day. And while there was a lot of hype and anticipation built up around this event, I think there was also a lot of lower expectations out there as we are hot off the heels of Legends Arceus, of course, releasing in the end of January, and we are only at the end of February now. So just a month ago, we get a giant open world, or open zone rather, Pokemon experience that takes the franchise in like a totally new direction. And I think a lot of fans, including myself, were probably expecting something smaller, like maybe a Let's Go remake announcement for new Pokemon games. And to everyone's surprise, we got the official Gen 9 announcement with a open world confirmation. While there's still a lot of debate and speculation out there on how the battle mechanics will work and things like that, as they really didn't go into detail on that footage, it does appear that maybe you have to encounter Pokemon and battle them again in order to catch them, but all of that is still up for debate as far as I can tell right now. But it does look like, by all accounts, the Pokemon Company themselves are calling this open world, which truly should mean that you are in a blank slate and that you can choose which direction to go, choose which gyms to battle in any particular order if there are gyms. So there's going to be a lot of reason to be hyped as a Pokemon fan in the year of 2022. But the conversation I want to have around this announcement really has to do with Nintendo's 2022 software lineup and some future announcements that are probably still coming up, because you have to start to zoom out and look at the landscape of what 2022 is going to ultimately offer to Nintendo fans. And that's quite simply maybe one of the best gaming years in Nintendo's history, period, which is kind of a crazy statement to make considering all of the incredible years that we've gone through so far. Most notably and most recently, I think the one year that sticks out in a lot of fans' minds is of course 2017, when the Switch launched, because of course we got games like Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey in the same year, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and so many other incredible fan favorites that as we look back, it just really was an incredible year to be a Nintendo Switch gamer. And it's, by all accounts, it's stacking up to be that exact same way in 2022. As one point I want to make with the recent Pokemon announcement is that we are still just at the end of February. Very fastly we'll be in the beginning of March here, but that is the very beginning of this year, and there is still going to be a lot of unannounced projects that will come to light, most notably around the summertime window. And while whether or not E3 is going to happen is highly up for debate right now, because it is officially canceled for an in-person event and there has been no official confirmation, as far as I'm aware of, that there will actually be a digital only event like we've seen them do over the past couple years. And I'm hoping that we still can talk about an E3, but regardless of what happens with that particular showcase, you know that Nintendo will still stick to their schedule of a summertime Nintendo Direct with many surprise and many hype announcements. And while I do personally think that we see the heavily featured portion of this event dedicated to Breath of the Wild, as I think that this is the event where we get the title, we get the gameplay, probably some treehouse presentation of like detailed gameplay experiences with hands-on footage. Like, I think we get the blowout event at whatever this summer Nintendo Direct ends up being. But you have to start to wonder how Nintendo places all these massive titles alongside each other. And while Zelda fans and Pokemon fans aren't really the biggest overlapping crowd, there is plenty of overlap out there, as I'm a perfect example, as I buy the new Pokemon games when they come out, very hyped, but I'm a hardcore Legend of Zelda fan, have been my entire life, and I buy every single release of that, of course, on launch day as well. And it's going to be very interesting if we get many more game reveals that we don't know about, such as the heavily rumored Metroid Prime 1 remake that I am still very confident we will see announced this year and most likely released this year, as it is also the 20th anniversary of Metroid Prime's original release back on the GameCube, and you know that Nintendo wants to capitalize on the momentum that Metroid Dread established with the community, and of course also building up to that huge Metroid Prime 4 launch they will want to ultimately do down the road, as it does sound like end of 2023 is probably the earliest we will see that game, and it very well could even slide into 2024. So by all accounts, it is a fair statement to say that with all the rumors around Metroid Prime 1 remake, maybe it's the Trilogy HD. I still think we're probably getting individual remasters and releases. Either way, I hope they bring all 3 games over before Metroid Prime 4 launches, as I just think the fans need to go back and experience those games before they hop into Prime 4, which of course we don't know any details of the story direction they're going or any of that. Like, they could very well just kind of gloss over some of the major events that happened in the previous Prime games, but I still think that there is an experience to be had there, and I certainly hope we get that official announcement at something like an E3 or Summer Nintendo Direct. We then of course have all of the rumors and speculation online floating around a Donkey Kong game being a 2.5D or maybe even 3D experience, but it does sound like it's more likely to be 2.5D. Regardless of what we get with that, imagine if we get that announcement at E3 and it's launching in 2022. You already have games to look forward to that are slated officially for this year that are major titles, such as Splatoon 3, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 slated for September. Then of course we have Bayonetta 3 set to launch this year. Sonic Frontiers we know will be in the holiday lineup, and while that's not a first party Nintendo title, it's still going to be a very big game for the Nintendo Switch, as that is Sonic's new open zone, new direction for that franchise. Then Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, and now you have to talk about the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet games launching in that late 2022 window as well. So there's going to be a lot of money to spend towards the back half of the year, and that's not even talking about like Kirby and the Forgotten Land around the corner at the end of March, Advance Wars Reboot Camp 1+2, and then Mario Strikers Battle League. Like, it is just an insane year period. It is definitely unprecedented that we are getting this much content released in a single calendar year for the Nintendo Switch, and in true Nintendo fashion, besides games that are heavily rumored and reported upon right now, there's probably quite a few other projects that will just be announced whenever they feel like it, and they very well could fall into this year as well, as I already think we have enough software to get by this year saying it's going to be an incredible year either way, but they could surprise us with more announcements at E3 and more announcement at a September Nintendo Direct that we know to expect every year as well, not to mention the ongoing improvements and potentially even new consoles coming down the line to something like their Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack service. So there's a lot of reason to be hyped right now as a Nintendo fan in this year of 2022. I do at this point in the video want to hear from you guys directly on how you personally feel about how 2022 is stacking up. When do you think we're getting the next major game announcements, potentially even being released as soon as this year? Do you think we're going to get stuff like the Metroid Prime 1 remake and even potentially a Donkey Kong game announced in this already stacked lineup of Nintendo Switch software? Or do you think what we have announced now is probably most likely the full picture? Also, bonus question, share with me what you think about the confirmation of these Pokemon games now being open world, and also which starter are you going to pick, because I don't think Quaxley is getting enough love online. Like, I mean, I know a lot of people like him, but no, this is for sure my starter pick, absolutely hands down. If you look at the conviction in this duck's eyes, he clearly has found his calling in life, and I couldn't be more pumped to start up with him. While the other starters look great too, they look like they're having fun. Quaxley's over there solving the world's problems in my opinion. But as I mentioned, guys, I want to hear from you on all your thoughts, theories, and speculation on what you think we're going to see announced in the year of 2022 that we don't already know, and how you think all of this stuff slots together for a release window at the end of this year, especially like when do you think Breath of the Wild 2 drops versus when these Pokemon game drops, as they will both be large, open, vast experiences. So I do look forward to hearing from you guys on all the things we talked about today in the comments down below before you leave the video, as I do look forward to getting a back and forth conversation started with you all around this topic. Make sure you check out the weekend video if you haven't already, where we boot up Majora's Mask together on Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack, play through the early portions of the game, and discuss how it runs. Also, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.